Hello and welcome to the Reds Report, Barnsley FC's longest running podcast. Proud to be part of the TalkSport Fans Network. It is Sunday evening. We've just watched Chelsea lose in the Carabao Cup final against the Liverpool under-12s. And seems a good moment to relive what happened yesterday at Oakwell. The Avengers assemble, as always, with us. Ian is here. Ian, how are we doing?
Very well, thank you. You all right, lads?
Yeah, we are. And also, he is the president of the Adam Phillips fan club. Steve, as always, Steve Andrews is here. Steve,
who's on your cup?
Evening, boys. Boys.
Who's on your cup?
Oh, it's hold on, that way.
Sorry, Michelle Geller, is it? Is it Geller?
Yeah, it's me Buffy the Vampire Slayer cup.
I was going to say it don't look like Adam Phillips.
No, I wish it did. I'd never have a wrong word to say, would I? Let's be honest.
Lads, before we go into the match yesterday, I just want to read you the Yorkshire Post official ratings from yesterday's match, because I think it gives us a talking point. But, you know, I'm a big fan of Leon Wopshell. I think he says it as it is. And, yeah, so Roberts, not much to do, really. 6. Pines, correct. Big occasion for his full debut. Shaky in the first half, will get better. 6. De Givnier got Pines out of trouble early. 7. Earl started the move which led to the equaliser. Looks like he's been at the club for ages. Booked, still a 7. Williams gave Elder some issues. A good afternoon's work from the captain. 7. Kane did not pull the strings as he can, but still pretty steady. 6. Connell, poisonous short from the most part. 7. Phillips, streaming strike and deadly header. Bravo. 8. Cadden, alert defensively and one to watch on the left for Derby. Involved in both goals. 7. McAtee, recall to the side, but it didn't happen for him today. 5. Cole, not as threatening as he can be, but plenty of selfless work. 6. If you look at that other team and you wouldn't know about the result, average scores, obviously Phillips for obvious reasons stands out. But I think Leon again has got it spot on, hasn't he? Because that, to me, wasn't maybe the result. It's more about the result. It's the fact that you're in the club that's in second. But actually, as a team performance to analyse it, I thought Derby were poor. And I think we were only maybe a little bit better in certain circumstances. Steve, let's start with you. You were there yesterday. We'll talk about the atmosphere in a bit. What about the performance on the pitch?
If you're going to hit good form, now's the time to do it, isn't it? Derby have been playing well this last few weeks. We've started to pick up as well. And that performance yesterday, I thought, was really good. We played basically together.
Lost Steve.
Oh, he's gone.
What?
Oh, he's
back. Gone.
That's what alcohol does to you.
Yeah. You're back. Keep going, Steve. Your Wi-Fi is a bit intermittent, but keep going.
He's in.
Wi-Fi? Wi-Fi? What's that? I ain't got Wi-Fi. It's on a wire. AOL disc I've got in. Where did I get up to? Tell me where I got up to. Phillips is fantastic. Yeah, rate player. Yeah, spot on. He won't play man at match yesterday.
You said if you're going to hit form,
now's the time to do it. Run up to end of season. If we can keep playing as we are doing, last couple of performances like from Leyton Orient onwards, forget Exeter. We've played as one man and played really, really well. Pines come in, and I actually agree with Leon's assessment of him.
And there he goes again.
Thanks for that.
Listen, Ian, I might as well go for you. We'll go back to Pines in a little bit. Maybe not the best performance, like everybody, 7s, 8s, and 9s, but actually, you don't need to be, do you? You just need to be a little bit better than Derby, and I think overall that's what we were yesterday.
Yeah, I wouldn't poo-poo the performance too much. I think we certainly seem to be playing better when we play better teams. I think Leyton Orient at parts the way we turned that game around and yesterday compared to how we played at Shrewsbury and Fleetwood are improved. The fact that we've turned games around from losing positions is a positive. And I just think all the players gave everything. We had about a little 10-minute spell after going one down where they just struggled to get back in the game. But I think for the rest of the game, I thought we were the better team. I thought we looked the team that was second in the league. I think I agree with pretty much what Leon's saying. I don't remember Roberts doing much. Cadden, a little bit sometimes defensively. He's just a little bit slower, but he's better in the final third. McAtee had a poor game, so did Cosgrove. But them aside, I thought we prevented them from really causing us too many problems. And I thought we were the better team right throughout the pitch. I thought we wanted it more, and our endeavour and the substitutions, everything come together. The crowd come together, and I wouldn't poo-poo it. I thought it was a really, really good performance, and I thought we deserved it. Yeah,
Steve, we might as well talk about Adam Phillips, because it's been a talking point for a little while. The matches in February were Bolton, Leyton Orient, Shrewsbury, Fleetwood, and Derby. He's got 4 goals. He's got 3 assists, and he's got a yellow card. Personal, I think he's just hitting a bit of form now, and we're now seeing a Phillips that we saw last season, especially in the run-up to Wednesday. Yeah. I think prior to probably January or Christmas, you could say, I think at times it just wasn't working. And he went unnoticed for most of the time. I mean, you've put it there on your sort of like your title or your subheader. Those are the goals that we know and we love Adam Phillips for, and this is what we know he can play like, isn't it?
Yeah, credit where credit's due. I was his fiercest critic up to Christmas because he were crap. I'm sorry, and people disagree with me, and he's now coming into the player that we know he is. Is that because he seems to be pushing a little bit more forward into the final third? You don't know what Collins is telling him or where he's telling him to play, but this last 3 or 4 games, you can see he's got some confidence back. He's one of the best strikers at ball that we've got at club. And whether it's a case where he's not being used properly, I still think he should have been taken out at team run up to Christmas for a couple of matches because he was poor and he weren't doing anything. But he's persevered with him, all well and good. And let's hope now we can just keep going and bring rest at team on with him. But yeah, I'll eat me out, whatever you want to say. Everybody has a player that they'll look at, perhaps more than they do everybody else, and they're more critical of. But when that player then turns it round and starts playing as you know he can, and I think that's been the annoying thing this season, we know how good a player is from last season. Up to Christmas, he were poor. I'm sorry, but he were. But he's definitely getting back to his what we know he can do. Yeah. And did you get all that, by the way?
Perfect. Word perfect.
Fantastic. It's all right, because I've connected to next door's Wi-Fi.
Steve, actually, what Steve says is spot on there, isn't it? Because if you look at this season, Adam Phillips, he's got 6 goals and 5 assists. 4 of those goals were scored in February. So before that, he had 2 goals and 2 assists. So actually, he has done very little, given his role in the team and where he is. For you, though, you mentioned Pines earlier. Some of Pines' stats from yesterday, Ian. 90 minutes played. He got a 7.8 from FootMob. More importantly, 45 out of 63 passes completed, most in the game. 9 duels won, most in the game, and 8 recoveries. A different Pines in the second half probably than in the first half, because I thought initially he looked a little bit of a liability and probably took some going. It's a big match to make your home debut in, though, isn't it?
It is. And I think maybe first half, Derby tried to target him a little bit more and put him under pressure. And I know I was listening to Rams TV and they were picking up on that in the first half. They obviously highlighted that it was his first game, etc. But then second half, they sat off him. And what I noticed with him was he was very comfortable with the ball at his feet. And obviously they didn't invite any pressure on. So he was allowed to ping balls either to the left or the right wing, which was quite a good outlet, like Kitchen used to do. I mean, Kitchens were probably for a bit more ranging, but that kind of, he's got that in his locker. Yes, in a debut, you're always going to have everyone's going to be watching you probably more than some of the other players. So anything you don't do right is going to be highlighted. And there was one in the first half where he gave the ball away and they nearly scored. But I think overall, I mean, he's exactly the type of player we've been crying out for at the back, an absolute man mountain. He seems to have settled really well. You can see how he's clearly a popular guy in the dressing room. But he's not just a guy who's going to clear it with his head and be a bit of a kicker, a bit of a lump. He could knock that ball around. And I thought for a first debut, bumper crowd, all the eyes on him against Derby, I thought he came through it really well. And I think, looks like won't get carried away, but I think it looks a tidy signing at the moment.
Yeah, definitely. What about Herbie Kane then, Steve? Season so far, 6 goals, 5 assists. Leon Wopsell says, didn't pull the strings maybe as much as he would like to, but still pretty steady. I think that's probably the best way to describe Herbie Kane at the moment, isn't he? He's just steady. He does critical things. He does things right, but sometimes, he might not be involved as often as he can. What would you like to see more of Herbie Kane?
Nothing particularly, to be quite honest. I think steady and not quite up to the mark would sum up his Barnsley career. Sometimes he's had the odd game where he's looked absolutely outstanding. Another player that's got bags of talent that he just doesn't put into every game. He's good at taking penalties, I suppose. I don't know. He's another one that I still go back to that interview that he did, and I still class him in the same vein as Styles, as in, if you don't want to be here, fair enough, get yourself off. I don't want people at club that are not interested. There's times you'd think that, he were Barnsley through and through, and he's shouting and screaming and he gets that excited when he scored, and you think, fantastic, that's what we want to see. But then there's other times that he just goes missing. He goes for challenges, but he's never going to get out there. So it's just a token effort. And there's times I've watched him this season where he's played sort of that central midfield role, and he's asking for ball, but yet there'll be an opposing player stood directly behind him. So you just think, why are you asking for ball, making it look as though you're interested, when you know full well they're never going to pass it to you because you've got a player or 2 players behind you. So I don't know. For me, he's just one that, on his best day, he's a good player, but we've just never ever seen him have a consistent running team where you think, fantastic, what a player he's been for us. He'll never be looked at in the same vein as like your Hamels and what have you. No, I think he's just not done it, has he?
I think touching on Kane, what I thought when I said like we look like the team who were in second yesterday, I think fair play to Collins and the players. We've got into a position now because in November we look like we'd be mid-table, and we're in a position now where we are in the running for the automatics. But if we're gonna get an automatic spot, the likes of Kane and Phillips have got to be given. And I would probably say we need more from Watters and Cosgrove. But the likes of Kane and Phillips have got to be put, like Phillips has got to keep this form going to end of season. Kane's got to get that form where he was getting assists and goals over Christmas, January, where he got most of them goals.
He had 3 or 4 good games over Christmas. Yeah. Really did.
I think that's the level we've got, and some players have struggled to do that. And dipped in and out of a season. Some have been more consistent than others. But I think if we're going to be serious contenders for certainly second, these guys have got to now, for the remaining, is it 12? I'm not sure how many games it is now. Have got to be putting those top performances in. We can't have them one good game every 3 or 4 Otherwise, it'll be playoffs again.
I think yesterday, if I had one criticism yesterday, and quite a few people said exactly the same around me, so that makes it about 4. Going back to Pines, he'd pick ball up at back, and they're going, go forward, blah, 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 and he'd got space in front of him. But he was having to ping them long balls. I thought movement yesterday at times from our players was poor. They didn't seem to... There were loads of times you were shouting, move for keeper so he can distribute ball, move for Pines, move for De Givney. And I just thought movement yesterday at times looked a little bit laboured, or they were like waiting for something to happen instead of making something happen themselves. I think that was why McAtee had a poor game yesterday, because he didn't make as many runs as he usually does. Maybe that was just because he'd been told to play in a certain position. I don't know. But I thought movement yesterday were poor.
The 3 at the back altogether did a great job. Is it fair to say, Steve, that now, if those 3 are your preferred 3 at the back, can we now also hopefully should we ask a little bit more of Cadden? 2 goals, 4 assists in the season. I know he runs his blood to water because he does, but is it fair to say that if we've got the defence sorted a bit, if we're going into 6th gear now towards the business end of the season, both wings should now chip in with a few goals as well, because we have been relying, haven't we, on Cole, obviously, and Cole relies on service, but the wingers have not set the season alight for us so far this season, have they?
I think thing with Cadden, and Ian's right what he said earlier on, that final third and getting up to that final third is actually really, really good. But I don't know what it is. We've got full-backs, Cadden, Cotter, O'Keefe, maybe, that are quite quick going forward. Actually, when Cotter came on yesterday, I thought he did well for the last, whatever it were, 10, 15 minutes. But defensively, there's got to be question marks. Cadden yesterday, defensively, that winger, second half, tore him apart 2 or 3 times, went past him as though he was stood still.
Yeah.
And I think that is, let's face it, you've either got pace or you've not. And if you haven't got pace, fine. But if that's the case, then you've got to use your brain and you've got to be in the right position for when that winger comes at you. And I think sometimes he does get caught out. But I was trying to think, who's cover for Cadden on the left-hand side? Don't say Jamie McCart, else I'll have to shoot you. It's not an hard question, is it? It obviously is an hard question. But who is cover for left back?
Well, we have plenty of cover on the right, don't we?
Yeah, we've got Cotter, O'Keefe and Williams.
Well, I know Williams dropped across.
I think Earl can play in that role, but then it'd mean bringing another centre half in. No, but I think if needs must, you would. But I wouldn't. It wouldn't be. I wouldn't be my first choice. Would be.
But we haven't got anybody else, have we? Unless you're going to youth.
Yeah.
That's what I thought. No, that's what I thought.
And looking at the table then, Barnsley in 4th on 63. Bolton are in 3rd, lost heavily yesterday on 66. We have got a game in hand. That game is a week on Tuesday. So potentially it's another big one, isn't it? Well, not potentially, but that could then project us to maybe going into 3rd place. We are also 3 behind Derby. We've played the same number of games as Bolton. Derby have got a game in hand on us and they're on 66. So it is all to play for. I want to have a quick word about Conor Hourihane. And this is all about personal opinions. I'll give you mine because I don't want to wait for yours. Conor Hourihane, I wouldn't necessarily boo him. I would only really clap him at the end of the match because I think what he did for this club, the captain that he was, 2 Wembley appearances, promotion, cup winners. I sometimes wonder how people... To me, a legend, you should never boo a legend. Like, to me, he is one of those. Hamill is one of the other ones. So I don't understand why people boo him. He's not my friend while he's playing Barnsley, but when the whistle's gone, I give him the respect that he gave us as fans. That might just be me. How do you feel about it? There was a lot of booing initially for Hourihane. Ian, your thoughts and how do you feel about it?
Similar to you, I think when you cross that white line in those 90 minutes, it's a battle, isn't it? and I agree that he's the opposition player, and we shouldn't be fawning over him so much. But you wouldn't necessarily just boo him for 90 minutes or whatever. But then at the final whistle, then you applaud him because, like you say, he's earned that stature at the club. He does seem to come in for more stick than I would have thought, and I don't understand why, to be honest.
I can tell you why.
Because the more you loved him when he was here, the more angry people get that he left us almost, I think.
No, it's not just that. Remember, playoff against Swansea, he was an absolute shithouse that day. In second leg at Oakwell.
I think the thing is, though, so many players are always going to move on from Oakwell, aren't they? They're always going to... and I might be wrong, shoot me down, but there's nothing like... I don't see anything like what he's done controversially that would justify it.
I mean, to sign off with a goal against Leeds on your last day, I think for a Barnsley fan is as good a send off you can give the fans. Yeah. And you leave.
He's talked well about his time at the club as well when he has been asked.
He was captain.
Yeah. So I don't know. I do get that sometimes ex-players come back and they get a little bit of stick, but it's only like they might go down to take a corner or they might get a little bit, but not like generally like he got. I don't know. For me, it seems a little bit OTT, but Steve? Everyone's got a different opinion.
Yeah, Steve, did you boo him?
No opinion. No opinion on it. It were good while he were here. Like I said, that's playoff semi-final at when we played Swansea. He was a shit house in that game. He played for Sheffield United, which is bad enough anyway. So no, to be honest, I have no feelings either way. I won't boo him, but he were all right for us. Some people say we're a legend. I won't go that far myself. On the same sort of vein, to be quite honest, was Wildsmith in Derby's net, who we had on loan. And to be perfectly honest, when we had him on loan, I thought he were brilliant. I thought he were really good.
He come in for some pelters, didn't he?
I think slagged him up hill and down Dale yesterday.
I think is that because he was a Sheffield Wednesday player, wasn't he? When we loaned
but Urian went to play for Sheffield United, so is that not all the same?
Yeah.
But yeah, do you know what I mean? No, neither here nor there. No. That's just me. Sorry.
No. Listen, it's all about opinions, isn't it? Next up then is the away game at Wycombe. Changes. I mean, I think it's just because McAtee had, it just wasn't his match, was it? But I don't think that sort of match is a McAtee match. Would you drop him? And if what, who for? Because I put in our group yesterday when Cosgrove came on, and that's not. It don't matter if we play, East Lee in a cup or Derby in a 6-pointer. He just looks such a liability to me. And I'm not saying he can't score goals. And I love the fact that we've got a bit of a bully up front, but he is literally...
But he's not really a bully either, is he? Do you know what I mean? No. I would have thought he'd put his centre back and this, that. And to be honest, he doesn't.
No.
To say he's a big lad, he doesn't really... He gets involved in tussles, and he did yesterday, and they were jumping all over him and what have you. But it's not like Norwood were. Do you know what I mean? It's not...
I mean, you say it wasn't McAtee's game, but I thought it was McAtee's game, and he was disappointing. I thought the thing with Cosgrove is, like Steve says, if you're Norwood, you're up front, you hold the ball up. That's his game. He gets your yardage up the pitch, but he can hold it up. Cosgrove wants a fight with everybody, and he's a red card. He's a red card. That's no good. It's all right being a centre forward who can hold the play up, take a foul, get a hit in the back, go down, get a free kick, play percentages, all that kind of stuff. That does the hard work. But Cosgrove doesn't want to do that. He wants to kick the centre half into stand.
He doesn't hold ball up. For a big man, he doesn't hold ball up.
But I thought that game was made for McAtee. We'd said the week before, hadn't we? Would you play Cosgrove having scored in the game previously? And I said it was made for McAtee. He felt caught offside. I don't know how many times. He just didn't get the flow of the game. And I thought it was the right substitution to make. But then Cosgrove comes on, and like you say, he could have walked if he wasn't careful. I mean, he did all right, but he was always on. Every time he went near the ball, I cringed a little bit, thinking he's going to end up with a red here or something. So I thought it was made for McAtee.
I just didn't know
I think the game was made for McAtee. It just wasn't his game. It's one of the games that he probably were poorer than what we normally expect.
But I don't know who would you put in. If you don't go with McAtee or Cosgrove, who are you going to put in?
Well, this is the problem.
This is the point. This is the point I came to, that, you look to Waters, you look to Cosgrove, you look to these players to really be chipping in, because Cole, as well as he played, he didn't really get the service, and we know he goes in spells where he'll score 6 in 6 and then won't score for the next 6.
Yeah.
So you look to Cosgrove, McAtee, Waters to step up if we're going to try and get that second spot. Well, I'm not saying Portsmouth are out of sight, but they're looking strong. But some of those players have got to step up. They can't score one game and then don't score in the next 5 or 6, like McAtee went 1 in 9, was it, or something?
Yeah. They've got a week. No, not off, but no matches until this coming Saturday. That's Wycombe away. Different type of match, isn't it?
Oh, they're horrible, that.
Yeah, you worry about the pitch. Wycombe as a side, it's a completely different one. So are we not making changes then? Are we sticking with McAtee up front?
I thought that was a really strong. That starting 11 was our strongest 11, and it looked good. It did look really good. And I know we kind of say McAtee didn't have a great game, but normally I looked at that 11 and I thought he's picked a great 11 there. It's the strongest 11 right through the pitch. It looks balanced. There's threats around the pitch. There's goal scorers, there's assists. I'd be picking that side for remaining fixtures if they could stay fit.
Yeah. And then obviously after Wycombe, it's a Tuesday night match. It's Bolton. I mean, that one, again, isn't it? When you talk about points up for grabs in relation to position in the table, that could be another, for a Tuesday night, a bumper crowd, couldn't it? And given how Bolton got a man sent off yesterday, 2 yellows, I believe, lost 4-1, was it, against Blackpool? So this is now where you want to either maintain or improve your form rather than starting to stutter. We'll finish the episode then on a bit like we did last week, with a bit of a question for you both. So in other news, as Rochdale FC is potentially facing administration, what would you do with your Saturday afternoons and Tuesday evenings if Barnsley FC no longer existed? Would you follow another team, or what would you do? I'll go with Ian first.
I would probably look at what fixtures were near me, local, whether that's non-league, whether that's whatever division. And I would probably go and sample different atmospheres and go 1 week, not every week, but, I might pick a game, a non-league game or a championship game or a League One game that's local, and just get a bit of my football fix that way, I think.
Yeah. Steve, don't say golf, because, in the middle of
December... other people do play golf. You do enough, don't you?
You do enough bloody golf during work time, so never mind Saturday, Sunday.
That's true, we are. No, I won't go and watch anybody else, to be honest.
No, and that's because...
Would you not want to go and watch live football and have a pint?
Yeah, and what I would do, to be quite honest, I'd go and watch probably my lad play on a Sunday morning, which I do now and again. And if I could, like obviously in Barnsley, maybe go down and watch Hathersley Rec now and again. I know a few lads who'll go down there and just watch local football, because I've no desire whatsoever to go to any teams near us.
No.
Especially, I mean, obviously some in particular, but no, like your Rotherhams, your Huddersfields. No, decent enough sides, but if Barnsley goes to Wall, which they won't, somebody just tuning in now is going, Barnsley good at Wall, what's he on about? No, I wouldn't go anywhere else.
No, and I think the point is we love the club. And we go to the football because that's our club and that's what they do, isn't it? And if the club no longer existed, you can't just all that passion, all those memories.
Yeah.
You can't just part exchange that for another club.
No, and I'm not saying you would join allegiance to another. I just think certainly the lowest level stuff and the non-league, like you're saying about Athersley and stuff like that. That kind of atmosphere is quite unique, and I quite good to put some money in their coffers. Every now and again on a Saturday, and just to see what it's like, and you can probably have a pint inside of the pitch, and that kind of level of football, and support some of the local clubs that need that money.
Yeah,
correct.
Well, the month of February, or the matches for February, all 5 of them finished. 1-1 Bolton, 2-1 win against Orient, 1-1 Shrewsbury, 1-2 Fleetwood Town, 2-1 against Derby. A big month coming up. I think we all agree. Plenty of fixtures and plenty of key fixtures as well. So next week we will look at that amazing victory against Wycombe.
Oh, Adam. I might not be, because I'll be in Tenerife next week.
Where's that come from?
Can you get me the producer on the phone, please? Because I'm not having this.
I miss Wycombe, Bolton, and whoever's after that. I did this last time, didn't I? When I went Gran Canaria, and I missed. Was it Plymouth? Who was it? We missed 3 games, and I think we won them all. So it might be a good dome.
No, even better then. Even better.
Why don't you stay another 3 weeks? And
I'll stay till May.
You'll have to do a cameo, mate. You'll have to do a cameo on your phone if you're sober. Oh, you'll not be sober though, will you? Let's be honest.
Listen, you can always send me a video message and I'll edit it in somewhere. Just make sure it's football related and not like
I'm
last
wearing
year
clothes.
when it was just budgie smugglers and different colours. That's not what our viewers want, is it, Ian?
On nudist beach. I'm just reporting live from the nudist beach.
Look at Steve, he's perked up suddenly. Anyway,
it'd be like being down at Hillsborough, ain't it? Surrounded by tits.
As it was said on social media yesterday, fantastic result for Barnsley. They really did silence the Rams. We'll be back next week. You've been listening to the Red Report. Thank you all for listening.